Welcome to a new episode of the LUCA MELE Show. I have my dear friend, Alex Casamassima.
Hi, how are you doing, Luca?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. I'm so glad you're here with me today.
It's been a long time. Very long time.
Just bring it a little bit closer.
I will bring it closer.
How long has it been?
I don't know, but I have something for you.
You do?
Yeah, I think it's the last time we recorded something together.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not going to go too much detail. I'm just going to play a very, very little bit. Now, I believe you were 13 years old at this time.
I was 13, okay. Yeah. I was going to say, let's get into the history of how we know each other. We're childhood friends.
Yes.
We lived basically on the same street.
Yeah, the proximity was how we were friends, essentially. Went to the same elementary school, I believe.
Yeah.
St. Francis, which they collapsed.
Yeah, and now rebuilt a new one, I think?
Yeah, to like a French school or something.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we used to have a lot of because little boys would have a lot of shenanigans, including recording. So I'm gonna play a little piece. And used to play music as a child. They were a little bit of a prodigy.
Yeah,
and
as were you.
No, I wasn't. But
we came together, and you always inspired me and pushed me to be the best I can.
We used to mess around, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was a lot of fun. And you could see that you were like, I could do more with this. And I was just having as much fun as possible. And we had a lot of fun. So this is one of those. This is a.
Count on 4. I'll see you. Yes, sir.
That's me on the organ.
Yes.
And that's you on the guitar.
Wow.
Now, there's a lot of shenanigans.
I've been wanting to listen to that for so long.
That's you calling it in. There's a lot of shenanigans in between, but it was a little like kids being dumb. It was cute though. It's very cute.
I love that. I remember being in your basement that day.
Yeah. And we had our little radio station, and we'd say wee a lot. It was very embarrassing if you think about it. So I didn't play any of that part, but it's there. I have records.
That's amazing, man. Wow. So yeah, we go way back.
So what has it been? 30 years later now? Is this what this is?
It seems like it.
Yeah. So I need to know, what have you been doing since? Since this is the LUCA MELE Show, I think today we need to actually discuss a little bit about LUCA MELE.
Okay.
In this episode, I will ask, and then you can turn it around on me. I guess.
Yeah. Less interview style, more podcast style.
Yeah.
The LUCast.
So today,
rebranding LUCast.
Today is the information session.
I like that.
So we did go to high school briefly together. King
Yes,
City.
King City. That's
Yes.
right. Another inspiration by you. You inspired me to go to that school because of their drama and their arts and the shop class and everything you were talking about was just like amazing.
It's a wildly different school than the general stream that Woodbridge would normally go to.
Yes.
So we got out of our hub.
Wow. And then we also know each other from church.
That's correct. We went to me and you were both altar servers together.
That's right.
For a long period of time, actually.
At least a couple years for myself.
And
that's something else that you inspired me to get into.
Yeah. I was very surprised that you came out. I always appreciated your sense of adventure, in the sense that like if there was something to try or in front of you, you would just do it.
Right.
And you were very bold, always very bold. And I'm the opposite. I'm like always play it safe, that kind of guy. So it was also pleasure. The contrast was there. But there was one moment, Luca, you as an altar server, it was like near the ending of your time doing service. You started to explore different paths. But I told you, like, hey, there's the Cardinals in town.
Yes, I remember that.
And you just dyed your hair red and came forward. You came out to the church, and the Cardinal was talking to us. And Cardinal is a head honcho. Like, there's Pope, Cardinal. That's what it is. He's the level 2. And Cardinal's like, oh, it's great to have the altar boys here and altar servers, because girls were allowed at the time. It was new. Girls were allowed at the time. And because you're a little boy with long red hair, he's like, oh, it's glad your sister's here too. I'm like, not my sister. And you played it so cool. You're just like, yeah. They let girls now. I was just like, oh my dear. So guys can have red hair. It's a Nirvana thing.
Yeah. Me trying to be Kurt Cobain.
Yeah. So yeah,
Kurt Cobain's birthday was yesterday. That's cool.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's intense. Okay. I thought you were actually going to bring up another memory of, I think a bishop or someone showed up to the church, and I got to wash his hands.
Oh no, didn't you wash your feet? Oh, you wash his hands.
Hands, yeah.
On the
altar, and that was like huge to me.
Yeah, it's always a little intense because you always fumble when you're up on the altar, and you're like, I don't know which step is which step. They always trying to guide you, but it was wild. I can't believe we were altar servers for as children.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about both me and you doing it, it wasn't like our parents forced us to do it. Most kids, their parents are forcing them, like, to participate in the church, volunteer. We kind of just did it. We're like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Well, let's do it. And so I chose to do it. And you were like in the same mentality. You're just like, if this is available, I'll do it too.
That's right.
So your sense of adventure.
See, all my guests have been people that have inspired me in some way or another, and you are not
inspirational at all. I understand.
No. You are not like excluded from that. This is why you're here.
Oh, really?
You like I said, you've inspired me to do better music. You inspired me to go to that high school. You inspired me to get into the church, and it's just amazing that inspiration has still driven me all this time.
When you're saying that is because I was always supportive of people's endeavors. Like I always loved the contrast between people. So I remember always being supportive of. Well, you used to dream. You would say like I would like to do this, and you'd go for it. And I was always the one. I would always be supportive of those dreams. I thought they were bold, unique. You're an inspiration to me because I always tend to be the play it safe kind of guy.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
See, I saw you as a big inspiration, and I saw you as like, if I couldn't go to a priest or someone that's holy, I considered you a holy man. Even as kids, I don't know if you remember, I'd come knocking on your door, and we'd sit outside, and you would just console me. I'd tell you my problems, and you would talk to me as if like it was a priest or someone very holy, like Jesus, talking to me and telling me a perspective from a Christ-like perspective, if you want to call it that. That was very like right. It wasn't radical. It wasn't, it was very, you could say play it safe, but it was very like, well, how about you look at it like this? And it was like every time I always came knocking on your door, especially as early teenagers and leading into that.
I appreciate it. I never even saw myself that way because I have people in my life that are very similar in nature too. And that's interesting. I've always appreciated someone who would be, so there's like this term, since you're all in theology now, there's a term that's called like
trying to be
the Peter, the church. No, who was the first to say? There's the rock of the church.
Yeah, that's Peter. Yeah,
Peter.
Simon.
So the core, the first pope sort of thing, considered the foundation stone of the church and whatnot. And when you find those people in your life, they're very. It almost feels like they're honorable, they're reliable, they're stable. I never even realized or ever taken the perspective that people might see that in me. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate that. That's an honor, because the way I respect those people in my life it's incredible. I have a few rocks in my life. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
And vice versa. I've always appreciated your sense of adventure. It reminded me to say yes to more things, which is like if I would remain play it safe, like I'm like a natural pessimist, but not like not emotional pessimist. Like, what do you say? Like a progressive pessimist? No, I would say I am a practical cynic. Like I can see the worst case scenario. Right. I play it safe sometimes. And if I took that behavior to heart, I wouldn't even come out to be in a podcast. I wouldn't go travel. I would not take risks. So I've always appreciated your sense of adventure influencing me at such a young age because you would take risks to try to like, I'm going to explore this part of my life. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to try this thing. And there's two ways to learn about life. There's two ways to gain wisdom. One is you can do it the boring way and read a book and try your best. The other one is actually like going out and experiencing. It's going to hurt more. It's going to hurt more because you experience it. But that kind of wisdom is hard to replicate.
Yeah.
And you always went out, at least as a child, you always went out and did it. And it was impressive to me. So I have to give you those kudos. Luca's sense of adventure.
Well, from my perspective of it all, being too adventurous or too dream chasing can put you in a lot of uncomfortable situations. And not all of it is like a good comfort, like, oh, I'm going to come out on top. It's more like, I know I'm going to lose. I'm going to miss out on a lot and lose a lot of people or a lot of things in my life because I'm doing this or doing that. And to have that balance of playing it safe and adventurous, I think you've mastered it now. I'm starting to master it now. To learn to say no is very important because there's so many things I said yes to, tours, all this stuff. And then I'm halfway across the country and I'm like, there's no way back. I can't get out of this. I'm stuck here now. So next time, okay, maybe I won't say yes to everything, but say yes to what I can handle. Not that I didn't take on more to like overcome certain things. I was able to overcome a lot, but there's a good balance I think everyone should have.
It's a lot of people, and the truth is like the way you, even if you were to live your life, I guarantee you that everybody, if they had the opportunity to travel back in time and then tap your shoulder and be like, hey, don't do that. Like you would take it 100%.
Yeah,
there won't be any chance where you wouldn't go back and say, hey, maybe this thing, don't do that.
Yeah.
Wasn't a lot of fun. Or, but actually, there's this joke, this meme, I kind of think. I think a comedian may have said this is like, this life is only a test. If we were a real life, you would actually get instructions of where to go and what to do. But you don't get those instructions. So you have to develop an end. You kind of have to say, all right, I'm going to try for this goal. I'm going to attempt for it. I might as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't put that perspective. If you exercise caution before you look at the goal, you won't try for the goal.
Yeah.
But in the end, you also need to take advice. You need to the point of, at least in Catholicism, is something called the divine pedagogy.
Yeah.
I might be using the British pronunciation, but the pedagogy, the word itself means the art of teaching.
Okay.
So the whole religion teaches almost like a culture or like a wisdom on how to kind of seek your life out. Okay. So like developing an importance of what framework should you adopt to live your life best.
Right.
And it's multi-generational, it's ideal, and like the way you're seeking out religion now, it's almost these little elements, these little influences that the church tries to impose on people is so that you can better balance the risk and reward, the caution and the adventure. Because it's not like the church ever says don't adventure. They're strong about joy. They're strong about like seeking out your goals. One of the most important aspects in Catholicism is to like find your purpose in life. Yeah. And the funny part about it, at least from what I've read so far, is like you might only find out when you die. so the truth is you're always got to chase some sort of. You might always end up trying to figure it out. Okay. And even when you think you figured it out and God may have revealed the plan to you, it might have not have been it might have not have been the plan. Right. So it's always like, yeah, the church tries to teach a caution, importance, a value between people. Yeah. And if you boil it down, if you boil down Catholicism into like the basics, you'll notice that it teaches kind of like the simplest rules, like you're like don't backstab each other, don't lie, like very simple rules. And a lot of people will be like, oh, those are kind of like dumb rules, but those dumb rules, the simplest of the rules, help you live just a little bit better.
Absolutely, I agree.
So, but I wouldn't call myself like an idealist. I think I'm a pretty bad Catholic and like a sinner on my own, but I've always loved the theology. I absolutely love the theology. So I'm not a spiritual Catholic, but I'm more a red Catholic, a theology nerd.
Physical.
Yeah, I like the study of it. So and I see the benefit in life. I have a interesting view of it. Now but before we dive into like Catholicism, because I could talk about that for days.
Yeah, and we should.
I still want to explore LUCA MELE, right? Because you went to high school for like a couple of years, and then you went toward a band, and you traveled. You left school. You dropped out of school, high school.
Yeah,
correct. To adventure.
Well, they forced me. What happened was I was called into the office. My mom was there, and they gave us an option. Well, they gave my mom the option. They were just letting me know. So I missed at that point like hundreds and hundreds of classes. And they were forced to either kick me out or I could leave on my own. And then I'm allowed to come back in September and try again. And my mom was hoping I'd go back in September and try again. But I never did, obviously. If not, I would have been like expelled basically, and I would have to go to a different region or something. Well, I can't remember the exact details, but I wasn't able to go back to that school in September. So my mom took the other option, hoping I would go back. I should have, but it would actually been very beneficial for everything I was trying to do at the time with my band, because your school is like your own personal community that you can gain support from. And I always didn't see it like that, like a little bit, but then I was always like resentment if anyone really didn't support me or they made fun of me. And there was a lot of insults at that time too. You know, people, they would see like interview I did with Rogers Cable and then quote the things I'd say to my face. As I arrive at school, they're smoking their cigarettes outside and they quote lyrics to me that I was singing on TV. And I was like, oh no, man, no one likes me here. But yeah, you're right. I did leave school.
I would like to state something like, because a lot of people think I'm a very good student. I was a very bad student as well. I had poor marks. I graduated, but I was pretty poor student overall. And a lot of people like, because I a little more sophisticated in the way I talk, they think I'm like a smart student. Oh, you're a smart kid. I get that a lot. And I was like, I would get higher marks. And I remember having this sense of feeling that school wasn't important. Like, this is pointless. The people around me are not interesting. They're not sophisticated. They're just working for the A's. But like in retrospect, if I could travel back in time and be like, hey, Alex, just go for the A's.
Yeah. That's
a shortcut in life. It would give you evidence that you deserve this type of, work or this type of schooling. Yep, exactly. So like it just like you don't realize that you closed doors on yourself after the fact. You had a fork in the road and you're like, this side of the fork is bad. Your experience with it was bad. Why would you take it? Right. And I remember having a similar perspective, not as drastic. I didn't drop out, but like I should have done better in school, 100%. Right. Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, I wish I could go back and stick it out, because there's things I wanted to do even beyond high school in the education realm. There's a big period of my life where I was trying to make blueprints and practicing with my dad and stuff, because he does construction as a carpenter, and he would eventually get into the blueprint side of things and fix designs and all that stuff. So he gave me a program to AutoCAD or something like that.
Yeah, CAD drawings, yeah.
To work on it.
By the way, just side note, I call it blueprints as well, because that's historically there were blueprints.
Yes.
They get so offended if you say blueprints to like everybody and we're just referring to drawings.
Yep.
Just using the classical term.
That's all it is.
Just using the. It's like, relax. We
Yeah,
mean the
man.
same thing.
It's interesting because I wanted to be like a city planner or an architect. I also wanted to be a photographer, and I remember meeting with the meeting with the school counselor and discussing these plans and trying to put things in motion.
Yeah.
But that was more like the 9th grade. By 10th grade, I was completely in a different realm, and I regret that now a little bit. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it's weird because like they didn't understand. The education system does something very poorly, and it sacrifices people like you and me to a certain extent, where they don't know how to frame it for people have a diverse worldview or diverse inclinations. So like you needed a direct carrot. You're like you wanted to. I remember you wanted to be a hockey player for a period. Is this you, right?
Oh, yeah, I had my own hockey team,
Yeah.
a street hockey team.
You want to be a musician.
Yeah.
They didn't realize that your drive comes from having a goal directly. Like, I need the goal now. Whereas most high schoolers go in and they're like, I don't know what I'm going to be. I'm just going to try my best.
Yeah.
And you would say, like, I want to know what I want to be. I'm going to try for it.
Yeah.
That's why you were so good at an instrument at age 13 or
Yeah.
12. Like, this is incredible. Because you had something in your head and like, I'm going to try for this.
Yeah.
School does a terrible job. I'm actually surprised you. That's actually refreshing that you actually seen a guidance counselor to try to do
Absolutely.
that. But
My passion was music, but I also I love the way of the world.
yeah,
I love cities and buildings and all that stuff. And I have a little bit of a passion for that too. And I wanted to explore it. And I explored it and it wasn't hitting. And I remember right before leaving school, I remember listening to like Edge 102
oh yes,
and hearing different things that were going on in the music industry and secret like shows happening in Toronto, and they were going to announce who the big act was and all these little things and the history of musicians. And I remember we listened to that a lot together. Who's that guy that did that?
oh he still does the show
Art
too.
something?
He still does the show. He's still on Edge
Yeah.
doing the show. He's like, I think he's like the director of the radio, the station now. But like,
Yeah, and just
history of new music.
yeah, the history of the new music.
Yeah.
And that, man, it made me feel so alive. And then I went to school and I'm like, I'm missing out. I need to know what's going on in the music world. I want to be a part of that.
Yeah, and we were also. It was the '90s then, so
Yeah.
like, the whole.
It was a
It
different
was just
time.
it was just post like Kurt Cobain suicide there, or depending on how you want to perceve it.
Yeah, it was even right after Woodstock
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
Woodstock
there was a-
'99.
Yeah, it was yep. That was an era in music, and it was probably like I have a weird feeling that was like the last generation where music defined nowadays with streaming. Everyone has catered music, like individually catered music. You have a music profile.
Yeah.
So you might find different audiences and stuff like that, but there was no cultural shift in music as it was in that era.
Right.
So that was either the last or second last era where there was like grunge was the culture, like the whole culture.
Right.
So it was fun to get swept up in it because it was the whole culture. You can ask anybody in elementary school who was the band of the time, and everyone would be on the same page.
Even the fashion.
Yeah, but now it's kind of like a series of smaller artists in specific genres, depending on what their Spotify algorithm
Yeah.
has trained, and it reduces like the quantity or quality of content that's you like. There's an absurd amount of recycled music
Absolutely.
right now, and they're just like, we can't make we have no new genres now, so we're just remix the old ones,
Yeah.
and that's it's absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Continue though. Continue.
Well, just and missing out and feeling that missing outness. Missing outness.
It's a new word. Missing out.
Yeah, I had to like make it an even bigger goal to succeed.
Yeah.
whatever it was. And I remember it actually started in 8th grade, this one goal. My music teacher brought a videotape into class of his band getting airplay on Much Music.
Cool.
And then
Cool.
something clicked in me. I'm like, if this guy can do it, I'm not saying that in a belittling way. It was an inspiring way. If he can do it, Mr. Lapano, I think was his name, then I have to do it.
That's incredible. I didn't know this.
Yes. And
By the way, the Much Music when we were in like grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, Much Music back in that era was the culture for us. It was
Absolutely.
everything. It was the YouTube of the day.
yeah,
Remember
big time.
Speaker's Corner?
Yeah, Big Speaker's Corner, all the programs, man. I like at 10 years old, I would put tapes in and just record Much Music 12 hours a day.
Same here. I'm not that crazy, but
And you did similar things
I
with
did same things.
Edge 102 and other radio
yeah, with
stations.
radio, but I did VHS as Much Music too.
Okay, there you go.
Especially
So-
like when that radio album dropped, I was just like, I'm not used to this.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is, but I love it.
yeah, OK Computer?
Yeah.
Yes. 1998.
With those videos, yeah.
Was it 98, 99?
Yeah, maybe 97, 98, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
somewhere around there. Man, it was so beautiful. So seeing that, I was like, man, I have to do this. And that was like 1998. 5 years later, I did it. Made Canadian history being the only unsigned artist to have heavy rotation on Much Music.
Yeah, that's right. With that first music video you
Yeah,
did.
Shove.
Yeah.
And then it got most requested video on the Much Loud show on the Saturday night show at 11 p.m. or midnight. And then a year later, it got most requested again.
Yeah, and
really cool.
Which was incredible because that was like you were kind of on, the forefront of a wave
Yeah.
because like that wave grew huge, but you're like the kickstart of the wave. You're like, I can do this. I'm gonna do this, and
Yeah.
you're jumping on. But then also the culture was shifting too.
It
Remember
was.
Korn
Yeah.
and the Biscuit were these all
It was
were
new
short
metal.
order. Yeah,
And it was almost at the last couple years of the new metal
yeah,
stage.
yeah.
Yeah. And then YouTube came out and like 2005 and everything changed. But then I did it again in 2008, 2 more times with 2 other music videos. So it was like you said, once I had a goal in my head, I had to achieve it. And even performing on festivals, big music festivals, opening up for some of my biggest bands I loved at the time, my biggest influences. It was so nice to make happen.
How would you live your life? Is like you got out of so Woodbridge is like a little cultural suburb where we grew up, but you got out of it. How did you end up living? Did you end up moving to a city? Did you end up moving close to your music? Did you live on tour? Like I never understood how you lived your.
I actually lived at home for as long as I could
Interesting.
until I had my first marriage and child.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lived in Toronto, moved around, and then into the condo, which I just left last year, came here. So yeah, it was a lot of staying at home, selling CDs at shows, at concerts, saving up money. At one point, it's online somewhere. We sold over like 8,000 copies.
Yeah.
Not all at once, but
Yeah, yeah.
in a span of period of time, and that's a lot of money for a couple guys to split, And living on tour, that kind of happened as I did the hip hop stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because NAR didn't really tour that much. We do small, like week here, week there kind of tour throughout the year kind of thing. But a lot of it was Toronto based, running our own shows, running our own festivals in Toronto as well. So I started making money with that at age 16.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the year 2000, we started booking shows at the Opera House, the Big Bop.
I've gone to a few of those shows. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, Luca's really weird. Like he's real. He shouldn't. No one knows how old he is.
That's another thing. I was lying about my age. I was saying I was 21 at the time,
Yeah,
or 22 or something.
Yeah.
I was only 16.
So that he could travel, so he could tour the U.S. without issue.
Yeah, and be able to run these shows where alcohol was served
Yeah.
and make the money. So yeah, it was very interesting. And now there's some money still made online. You know, not a lot, but you know, a couple $100 a month from this, from that.
From all that, so residuals from all the work you've done.
Yes, it adds up, and sometimes it's a lot more.
Yeah.
Sometimes not.
Wait, that doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt.
So, but now I'm doing this and hoping to use the inspiration from all these shows to generate more opportunities, and not just for myself, but for other people as well. If I can get this show big enough, I'd love to pay people for their time. Because if the show's going to be making money, why shouldn't my guests be making money as well, right? So
Yeah.
So it means a lot that all these guests I'm getting right now, including you, are people I've known for a long time that I've always believed and supported, and still continuing to do so.
I also think it's nice for people to explore like a more formalized communication. Sometimes it's nice to just put a mic in front of it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my buddies, we have a lot of fun. We talk smack all the time. But it'd be interesting to like peel their mind, put a mic in front of them. I don't think they'll talk smack anymore.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
yeah.
recording this, so it'll be nice. You know, your mom might hear this.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a pleasure.
It is, man. So I don't know. It's just even like what we're doing now. The intro of my show, it has a picture of me at 3 years old with the LUCA MELE Show behind me.
You could edit that in actually.
Yeah, I
To
should.
describe it, and then you'll edit it in.
Yeah. And then even after that, like in the 90s, I wanted to have my own talk show. Like I saw Arsenio Hall and I was like, I want to do that.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's actual footage. I don't have any of it right now to edit into this episode, unless I can get my father to
Transfer
find it and put it in digital form for me. Or I could do it myself. But I just need him to find the tapes. But I have footage of me acting like a little Jay Leno, Arsenio Hall,
It's hilarious.
and I'd call like my family members and act like they called me to call into the show and do a little skit or something with them. And man, it was just so inspiring to see that. And then that turned into me making my own music videos in the basement, including one we did together.
Really?
Do you remember the song Silent Death?
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I remember even being in the basement. Wow.
If I can get that digitized, I'm going to put that on YouTube.
What did we call ourselves? Anavrin, right?
Anavrin, which was Nirvana backwards.
So embarrassing. Now, we were kids. The creativity was limited.
Yes.
I have a whole tape of it.
Yeah, you do. You have a lot of good tapes. I
Yeah.
think you sent me a picture a few years back of a tape you found.
Yeah, I think that was it right there.
That was part of it? Oh, wow.
It's a complete 90 minutes.
You should upload that.
No, we shouldn't.
The lost files
Yeah,
of
there's
Luca and
there's
Alex.
there's some amusing. It was interesting how creative we were. We would dub music and we'd use whatever. There was a harmonica in there. It was.
Yep.
It's amazing how creative we were as kids, and how intelligent kids can be if you give them an open space, the
Yeah.
freedom to explore.
Right.
So and that's always a little risky too. Like children can be a source of traumas to each other,
Absolutely.
and a lot of people are so like. There always has to be some sort of like level of maturity and stuff. We were given a lot of freedoms.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we were all kind-hearted. I found in our group of people. So like, even the worst of what we do was easy to look past with stuff like that. But like, I don't know. And now that I do a lot of like volunteering with the church, so like, ever since those like a huge issues with the churches in Boston and LA, the pedophile priest thing.
Right.
the church has stepped it up a notch right from the top down to ensure that people have criminal record checks, that they're trained. So now that
That's good to hear. Wow.
yeah, no, and it's a requirement right across the board,
Wow.
including with lay people doing volunteers. I'm a layperson. I'm not in the church formally, but I'm part of the Knights of Columbus, which is a men's organization. We have this amazing event called the Children's Free Throw. It's an international level competition. It starts locally at your church, and then if the winners from that go to go compete with the town, and the
Wow.
winners from that compete against the province. Like
That's cool.
It's an incredible competition, but you're working with kids, and it's kind of that's always a risk. So the standard is they have a course that teaches you about abuse, things to look out for, what to be protect against. And what's incredible is like, if you live your life always being good or having a good perspective, you're not looking out for the dangers. You don't realize the dangers.
Right.
And
That's right.
and like one of the things that was shocking to me, and I had enough common sense to realize like I can try and spot abuse from an adult to a child. I'll be on top of that all day. What I didn't realize is that most abuse is between child and child.
Oh, yeah.
So like one of the things that we're trained was like, if you send kids to the change room, make sure they have together, make sure they have adult supervision, because most abuse is between child. And I was just like, yeah, holy cow, right. Kids are kind of assholes to each other. Sorry, might not be the ideal word, but kids are kind of mean to each other.
Absolutely.
And they don't, in their maybe sense of adventure, they might do something that's immature or wrong. And I think I had experiences like that in elementary school. I may have buried them, and I have a bad memory, so it helps. But those a lot of people don't bury those memories, and they let them fester, and they let that affect their lives. So it's always interesting. I don't even know where we came from. I lost the train of thought.
Well, you were talking about how you're a layman in church, and you brought up the Knights of Columbus, and then what the work they do with the children with that competition thing, and how children, it's not just the adults doing the abuse, especially in a church setting. It could be
Children
kid
with
on
children,
kid.
yeah, but not to discourage working with children. We always have to work with it. It's just good that the church now has a platform to better, better supervise, better act.
I love that.
To be knowledgeable on it, and it's these wisdoms that a church has to pass along to generation to generation. You will not be effective if you don't teach it, if you don't do anything about it, because like for example, the most abuse happens in schools.
Right.
At Father Berzani, there was a teacher that was. That had an inappropriate relationship with a student.
Oh, wow.
He went to jail. He hung himself in jail, or maybe worse. Yeah. It's controversial. Yeah,
What year did this happen?
I would say I was in college at the time, so I was running the youth group at the time. So some of those kids in the youth group were at Berzani while that teacher was there, and they all had some comments to that. And I do appreciate the system handling that situation. What I don't appreciate is, like, at least, is that schools who have a history of the most abuse, because of course teachers are working with kids, they don't take the fall for it. I don't know what to say. Like, they need to be putting systems in place like the church did to prevent abuse. They can't just be putting it under the rug. That could be bad.
Wow.
So there has to be, the way teachers are trained also has to improve. And I assume to a certain degree, I imagine that they would. There's not that much ignorance, but there's not an onus on the pedagogy of education. As there is for the church. The church has a strong onus on it. If something terrible or something big happens with the world, the church, at least the Catholic Church, makes it a core to their principle to adapt to it, to adopt it.
Interesting.
So I don't know how I got here. I really don't know this train of thought.
I actually want to ask you something about something you just mentioned.
Yeah, please.
The Knights of Columbus. My understanding of their history was
You're talking to a pastor at night, by the way.
Pardon me?
You're talking to a pastor at night, by the way.
Okay. No, I took a pause for a second because I'm trying to understand my understanding of the history. They were in search or in possession of something they were protecting that belonged to Jesus himself.
No, you're thinking, I think maybe Knights Templar or something different.
Okay.
All right, so
The Knights of Columbus is
There
not
was-
a part of that, right?
no.
Okay.
There's
So
a
explain
history.
Knights of Columbus then.
Well, let me go into a little bit of a history. There was in, I would say, late Middle Ages, during the Renaissance period, that kind of era. There were a lot of like major clubs, major political clubs that were formed, and stonemasons was one of the biggest. Stonemasons,
Freemasons.
Freemasons, yes, and it would gather a lot of like powerful people that would discuss political concepts and stuff like that. So it became a little bit of a trend for secretive organizations to form for a means.
Right.
All right. The Knights of Columbus was one of these in Connecticut or New Haven. Yeah, New Haven, Connecticut. This one formed by a priest. And the formation was specific for the needs of the community. That came from an era where there wasn't life insurance, for instance, and people would die much younger. So there would be widows, and it would be not uncommon for someone to have a family, die early, and then leave them with nothing.
Right. Okay.
So it formed as like an early version of an insurance. And I like to remind people, like, a lot of people just think we're a men's club, a Catholic gentleman's men's club. That's what it is. And it technically, to a certain degree, it is. But the foundation of it, the core of it, the part they don't really tell you about it, it is an insurance organization, a life insurance organization. And it focuses around Catholicism. So they basically recruit men to join the organization. And once you're part of it, they'll give you access to their insurance products.
Okay.
And their insurance has been around forever. And they don't need to advertise their insurance, because the best version of advertising, according to the Knights of Columbus, is just to do volunteer work in the communities. Just to
Amazing.
follow Catholic ideals,
Okay.
just like the founder did. If you just be a good Catholic, you do Catholic things in your community, those people invite them into the insurance program. So the Knights of Columbus, at the core, the rock that holds the Knights of Columbus together, is an insurance, one of the best insurance companies, life insurance companies in the world. Now, I'm not interested in life insurance products, so I just joined the Knights, and they never really forced me to do it. But I like to remind people, like, hey, it is a life insurance thing in the background. But the key thing, if you want to join the Knights, is are you looking to it? It gives you something to participate in the church with. So it creates Father Daniele 100 started the one at our church, and he's
Amazing.
now in Maryland over there.
Okay.
And it's great. It does that council of men do things throughout the community, help the poor, help the needy, do social events,
Beautiful.
and they meet monthly. And it's worldwide. 2 million men are part of it.
Yeah. My one of my best friends' father is third degree or something.
Yeah, I think they're doing away with the degrees now. It used to be a secretive order up until basically the pandemic.
Oh.
So yeah, it followed the original 1800 style. Like you go in, you gotta pray.
So what
the night
changed?
before.
The pandemic happened, and they had to
that whole
reorganize?
pedophile thing in the church is the main driver.
Okay.
Because if you operate under the veil of secrecy, people start asking. It influenced the whole church, and it basically, when the Pope apologized for it and made it clear that, look, a lot of people see the church as sanctuary, and it's sanctuary spiritually. But it goes, if you're breaking any laws, the church has to abide by the laws of the community, regardless, because we can't have these things. This cannot be allowed to happen. So, and every order in the church took that to heart as well. And the Knights of Columbus, from the top, probably looked at it and said, you know what, this secrecy thing is not healthy, because people would be like, what are you keeping secret?
Right.
And it was cool to be in the secret. It was cool to be in the club where there's this level of secrecy, where like the first the first degree, the first degrees, they come in, you go into march into a room, you have to knock to come in, and then there's ceremony, and there's the skull and bones, and you're like, oh, what is this? What am I signing up for? And and then that whole session was a lesson on Catholicism.
Okay.
And each degree was a different lesson on Catholicism, which are the morals of the order.
Amazing.
Which is like, I think it was charity, unity, fraternity. I'm not getting them right. I'm going off the top of my head, but I know that we have a compass in one of them. Yeah. So in one of the degrees, so they kind of moved away from that just to avoid.
Notice that. Interesting.
Yeah. And I was like, that's like, is that a knight's compass? So
that's interesting, man. So you surprised me with something. So here's a picture of Alex figure skating.
Oh my goodness!
No, I'm joking. I don't have that, but I wanted to bring it up in a funny way. I wish I had that.
I wonder if I have a picture of that.
You must.
I think I have a video.
So you were doing that for real. I was expecting to see you in the Olympics. I don't know why I didn't bring this up 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's a random. I like almost forget about that sometimes. And I've been watching figure skating Olympics. What happened, by the way, for the men's? Like the quad god, like falling. That's like people don't understand in figure skating how big a deal that is, because in the absolute elite of figure skating, the top of figure skating, there's only like a handful of people in the world that can do quads.
Right.
All right. To do what he does is so it's like usually going into a world final, Olympic final, the top three are known. It's a competition between those three. And the difference between top three and the rest of the world is huge, like nearly impossible. So that what happened there was I have never seen it in my lifetime.
Wow.
So it's something incredible. But I used to figure skate. I'm not that good though. Oh. I was dedicated. I got good. I don't know how to put it. I found reprieve in the sport because I wanted to do sports, but I was bad at a lot of sports. And then I think what happened was I learned to skate at like 12 or 13 years old. And I progressed really fast. And they got to a point where all these coaches are like, oh, you learned very fast. You obviously learn how to skate very fast. Starting figure skating at 12, 13 years old is too late for the sport.
Really?
Yeah, it's very too late. You have to be there as a child, essentially.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, but I was progressing very fast, and I got invited by two sets of coaches. One was a hockey coach to see if I can. They want to come out and see me skate and say like, try it with a stick.
Right.
It was like holy shit! Like if you're already you progress this fast, I wonder if you should join our sport. And one of the figure skating coaches, which taught me to skate, was like, try out for figure skating. Just try it out. I try out the hockey thing, and I can outskate the puck. I can't handle the puck. So just like, I don't have any proper upper body strength. I have no. Okay. And I was with hockey skates trying out for figure skating, and I was like, oh, I'll suitable. I kind of like the idea of a sport with being around. I was 13. I was like being around a bunch of girls. I was like, this is nice. so I was a young teenager around a lot of girls. I was just like, yeah, I'll do it. And that was like a big motivator. But the problem was I was too late into the sport. Even though I progressed really quickly and competed good enough, like I was I couldn't afford to keep up both time because of high school or like late elementary school and early high school, and money. I didn't have the money. A coach's session is expensive. So to get the amount of coaching and practice I would need to actually progress. So I did well considering the circumstances.
Yeah.
Was I any good? Nah, I was a good skater.
That's
not
amazing.
A good figure skater.
I remember I saw a video of you. I don't know if you brought it to my house once or something, but there was a video of you figure skating.
Yeah, probably one of my competitions.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, I used to have to film it and then see how you did. So, yeah, that was probably early on too. And then in my last couple of years, I only did it for a handful of years, maybe 5 years or 6. But my last couple of years, I did pairs and dance. So I always had a partner. So it was kind of fun. It was nice. I was very glad to find a sport because I developed late. And what was interesting, I was speaking to my mom about this, was I joined the sport in an era where I'd like kind of had my growth spurt. So I would do a big jump, for instance, biggest I'd ever done. And then 2 weeks later, my muscles would have changed and I had to like relearn the jump. Like it was so weird.
Yeah, that's a weird time to do it, eh?
And what's weird is like you should be at the top of the sport by the time you turn like 16, 17, 18. You should be like that. But I honestly think my muscles properly grew in at late up to my 20s.
Right.
So like it was a bad sport for me to be in if I ever want to accomplish something great, because my development was so late in life that I would never have been able to master the jumps unless I started really late. And then it was already awkward even at that age because I started so late. My competitions were against like kids that were like half my age. I'm like, what is this? They're so immature. I was just like, what is this? So like, it's an odd sport, an odd experience. Same thing happens in soccer, by the way. In soccer, they usually identify great soccer players early, but there's a whole slew of soccer players that get into their prime in their 20s.
Right.
They get their final muscles in their 20s and stuff like that, and they're very good at those ages. And it's kind of like a curse of a sport. Do you find them you find them early and find the prodigies and the ones that can be the greats, or do you invest and wait until they actually become whole ass men? So it's a weird thing about sport.
Absolutely, man. So I want to end this with something you brought up recently that you're doing, the passion play.
Yeah.
So when you mentioned you wrote a passion play, I assume there's not much writing to be done in the sense that you're not coming up with your own story.
No.
The story is there.
The story's there, yes.
But you're organizing, and you said you got 20 or 30 different actors you're assigning roles to and everything?
Yeah, we last
That's a lot of work.
You called me in and we just finished our table read of the script.
Okay.
I can give you some background story. And I used to be a youth coordinator. I was hired by Father Daniele, which is at your church now. And he hired me to try to resolve something, to get kids from Brazani to be part of our church. And that was an adventure and so on. But in one of those Easter, we did our own passion play at that time. And then from then on, the priest asked us to do the Stations of the Cross on Good Friday, which is one of the events the church does.
Yeah.
And Father Daniele was like, look, I know that a lot of communities love to do the traditional ones, because I would appreciate if we did the biblical ones, the Pope John Paul II ones. Okay. Basically, it's also 14 stations, but it's based on the Bible.
Okay.
All right. And I always appreciated that because in the Bible, Jesus doesn't fall 3 times. It's not there. But in the Stations of the Cross, there's 3 falls. One station is this. Remember in elementary school, they put it up on the board?
I did the 14 stations last night.
Yeah. Did Jesus fall? Yeah. That's the traditional one.
Okay.
So I've always I said, well, yeah, I love that. And what I did with the church at that time was I wrote it as tableaus, where they would do the religious program, and then the youth would come out and act it out like in a tableau.
Yep.
And then in short order after that, I was done with the youth group. But what happened was the church kept that.
Okay.
They kept my original tableaus and they expanded it on it, and they had them doing more roles.
Wow.
Yeah, it kind of like blossomed out of that years after. And then it just grew into its own thing. A couple years ago, the priest asked me, the new pastor of our church asked me, it's like, all right, get involved since you have a history with it. I did involve, and I kind of sway them back to the biblical one.
Excellent.
I'm going to do the biblical one. But there was also a gentleman that joined our group. Well, joined it. He was always part of the parish who has history with the traditional one.
Okay.
So he would always add scenes like Veronica wipes the face of Jesus. Not in the Bible, but it's a traditional Stations of the Cross. So this year, we said we're going to make it as big as we possibly can. We'll do a full Passion Plays. The pastor at the administrator at our church right now asked us to go. Let's go big
So you mixed the traditional and the biblical together?
together.
Ooh.
It's everything, and a lot of people don't understand that the tradition is very important.
Absolutely.
Before the Bible was written, all the church was tradition.
Yep.
So for 300 years, the church was a series of tradition. Now there might be a Q document in between. There might be actual written word.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a very limited set of written words. That's why the Bible was very important at the year 300 that the church put it all together.
Yeah.
But the church's foundation is a tradition. The Mass is a tradition. It hasn't changed much. It's mutated, but it's basically the same structure since Jesus. It doesn't change. The tradition is most important.
Yeah.
So the traditional elements, including the Passion, the Jesus following Veronica, these things are traditional elements that speak to a culture, a humanity that reflects God. So I incorporated both into one mega play, and it is a play, not just the stations, but it has both sets. It's easy to write because I love to focus on the Bible first, but you have to add dramatic moments more so because I read the Italian play, and this Italian play, there's something called the Pietà. This is Mary. Mary cries over Jesus, the body of Jesus.
Right.
Very important scene, and you have to have a very passionate speech of Mary, crying out to the world, making a plea to the world, presenting her the importance of that moment of Jesus died on the cross. So it was more challenging than I thought it would be. So it was easy to write everything that was in the Bible. You just have to read all 4 books.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to read all 4 books because they have almost like 4 wildly different perspectives of the same thing that happens.
I bet.
It's like if there was like a car accident and you'd asked one person what happened, then you'd asked another person that happened and asked another person that happened, they would have kind of the exact same story, but it's very like wildly, like little things are in different orders.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, how do I build this? So it became a little bit challenge, but it was so far so good early on. So I'm
Did you look to like the Passion movie for any inspiration as far as how to organize all the scenes?
Father Daniela had a great, because when I did my first one, Father Daniela is like, which one are you using? Which book are you using? Which Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John? I was like, I'll use a little bit of all. So he goes, and he would call, and that one, the Mel Gibson version, is all 4 books.
Okay.
But the way Father Daniela used to call it, he goes, the Passion according to Mel Gibson.
He's so funny, man.
so he had the percent because it was like his interpretation of it. He tried to gather all 4 elements, and he used a lot of John in that. So and it's incredible when you put them all together, and it's incredible to find all the meanings from it.
Amazing.
One of the more interesting parts. One of the interesting parts of the gospel is what I like to call, what I made reference to, it's the Q document. So Matthew, Mark, and Luke especially, when it comes to Jesus' words, is very consistent. So there's this belief or theory that there must have been a document like written down what Jesus said, because it would be pretty hard for 3 different books to have the same quotes but different stories.
Yeah.
So like, how did they get all these quotes right? Well, it must have been written down, or there's something solid, or everyone has very good memories. Something like the tradition was maybe strict on that. Who knows? But they used to call that the Q document. The what Jesus said was. But what's also interesting is everything Jesus says isn't an account. He was always speaking in parables and analogies.
Yeah.
Very, very, they transverse time. So like he would say, like the sower of the seas or the prodigal son. You know, he would tell a story about fictional characters describing a moral stance that you should take.
Yep.
And it's that element, we forget it's that element that is important. It's the analogy. What analogy are you getting from this? What is the lesson here? And you need to know this lesson to live your life better. That's the importance of it. He taught ambiguous to time. He just wanted to communicate a meaning or a value or something like when they used to bring the Jewish laws to him. One of the more impactful when he threw out the 10 commandments. Essentially, he said, "There's only one commandment: love one another as I loved you." That kind of thing. That's not in the Passion Play, but Jesus said this. It was a moment.
Yeah.
He goes, "Stop looking at all the rules. Start looking at the lessons." And his big lesson was love one another as I loved you, and try to keep up. Yeah. so it's this kind of like people need this kind of view on at least Christianity that I wish people would take more acknowledged more, rather than I'm gonna look at nitpick this, nitpick that. Is like there's important lessons here.
Yeah.
And if you miss those in life as you grow up, you might regret. You won't be able to time travel and to correct yourself. So maybe you could learn something. Maybe it would help you grow and avoid issues amongst your family and friends and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. I like the way you said that. Which brings me to my last thing here. Those are inspiring words. Do you have anything you want to add to that? Maybe something that could help someone at home, or even a joke, something to
lighten the mood.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to apologize to the quality of this podcast. If anybody's wondering why it's so like informal, this is literally just us catching up. Would be a normal conversation.
We're gonna do this a few more times.
This would be a normal conversation between you and I. I tried to explore topics, but it was like me and you would just get into tangents. If this sounds familiar, like conversations you have at home, hopefully you find a relationship with that.
Yeah.
So, so I guess I'll end with like an apology. I would apologize. I was so excited to hear from you and see you again. That's it. Because
that's very kind.
I do have a joke. Have a joke, and this joke is you. You said this joke. And you didn't mean to say a joke. This was at our church. I haven't seen you in like a year or two. I just heard that you became a father.
Okay.
And then you pull up. I don't know. I think you were driving your car. You pulled up in the parking lot. You roll down the window. I come up to you. And I heard the good news. You're a father now. And you were just like, holy, I don't know what I'm going to do. I was like, I used to date girls. She's never dating. I'm never going to let her date. Not until she's 21. Even after that. 30.
That's the exact quote, actually.
You had the terror of God in your eye. You're like, oh boy.
The reality of it all.
And so I've never seen the fear of God in a man until that moment when you became a father, and I'm just like, this is a lesson.
Yeah.
This is a lesson.
It is. It still is.
It was fabulous. I love that you knew where to put your value in it. I was also concerned. I mean, like, oh my God, he's that terrified.
Yeah, help him.
So that was probably like one of those statement moments of my life. I had a smile from ear to ear. I was just like, it's a good sign.
Yeah.
That you know where your priorities lay.
Yeah, we go way back. You remember a lot of what I said. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, there were moments. Yeah. I have a bad memory, but the key moments are hard to forget.
Absolutely, man. Well, I hope we can do this again.
Yeah, maybe more focused on a specific topic.
Yeah, we can get into specific topics because I know you're pretty well informed with a lot of topics, and it'd be very beneficial for the viewers to learn a lot more from you. But us catching up and sharing these old stories and everything you did share besides our old stories is very informative. I think the people will love that. I have a lot of people that message me after every episode and talk about my guest to me. And I can't wait to hear what they say about you. It's
Well,
gonna be
I
very,
hope they
very
they
good.
I hope they reveal something about you. It would be nice on the Luca Mele show for Luca to have go into a little bit backstory.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Hopefully, I brought that out of
You
out
did.
of
I wasn't expecting it. You gave me like a 2-second warning at there. Like, by the way, I'm going to switch this up on you.
Yeah. So
That's
that
good,
was
man.
that was exciting, and I absolutely love your perspective on things. It's incredible. So
Well, I am so grateful that I could still call you a friend after all these years, man. It means a lot more to me than you even know right now in this moment. My heart is filled with so much love and gratefulness that you're even here right now. I was nervous to ask you. It took me weeks to ask you because I didn't want you to say no.
Oh yeah.
You know
I
what I
was
mean?
well. I was. I have to say yes more. So
Yeah.
if I ever say no to you, it's not because of you. It'd be more because of like me trying to assess the scenarios around me or whatnot. But I'm very happy to have come out.
Oh,
And
that
I
means a
hope
lot.
I
Thank you.
didn't. I'm not one of your other guests. You have very interesting guests so far.
Like I said, everyone that's on my show is a huge inspiration to me.
Yeah.
And you're one of my earliest inspirations. Some of these other guys I met when I was already in my late 20s and early 20s, but you were there before I even hit puberty.
No.
There's things I'll say off camera that I remember talking to you about that was so, oh man, so specific and, oh man, it's just a lot of crazy shit.
Going to an era of your life. If you ever dig up that era of your life, it's weird because what sticks around are like highlights, like highlights and lowlights and stuff like that. Yeah. But a lot of it, the truth is, a lot of it was just wasted time in between.
Yeah.
And that's why I appreciate the recordings because you grasp.
Wild.
Let your kids record themselves, even if it's cringy and embarrassing.
Yep.
Because like most of the time they spend together is nonsense, and they just need to like bounce off of each other, and they need to realize that between the highs and lows there was a lot of normal.
Yeah.
And I absolutely adore that. That's just something that allowed me to be more adventurous than I would ever have been.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
You're welcome, man. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Pleasure.
Thanks for watching another episode of the LUCA MELE Show with my dear friend, Alex Casamassima. Make sure to subscribe, share, and leave a comment. Thank you for watching. God bless.
Yeah, we went everywhere there.
Absolutely.